Thank you.
You are the mayor of San Jose. How long have you been the mayor of San Jose? And tell me a little something about San Jose.
So I'm going into my 4th year. San Jose is an amazing place. City of 1 million people, heart of Silicon Valley, largest city in Northern California, believe it or not. San Francisco gets a lot of attention, but we are the biggest city.
It does get quite a bit of attention.
Most diverse, most innovative, great food. It's a magical place.
That's amazing. And so you decided to run for mayor. You were, I'm assuming, you ran some kind of startup.
I was in the startup world. Before that, though, I was a public school teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
What grade did you teach?
7th and 8th grade, English and history.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you left there when?
Teaching? Mm-hmm. 2008.
Interesting. To do what?
To get into the tech world.
I know,
you got me. But hold on. We're building civic tech tools to help people participate in their democracy and hold their elected officials accountable.
Lovely work. So what made you want to get into the politics side of it?
Well, I've always followed local politics and just felt that government at its best creates opportunity, makes people's lives better. I grew up in a little farming town on the Central Coast, Watsonville.
Sure.
Home of Driscoll strawberries and Martinelli's apple cider. No. Great place. No, they know.
Oh, they
know
before you got out here,
products.
All they were talking about were strawberries and cider. That was all. I couldn't get them on anything else. Every question they would ask, what's your favorite strawberry?
Well, we definitely have the best. So my mom was a teacher. My dad was a letter carrier. The public library was our after-school program. I mean, this is just when government services work, they create opportunity. They make people's lives better. And right now, not just in California, across the country, we're seeing declining trust in government. We're seeing people turn to authoritarianism because they just want things to work, and they're tired of being asked to pay more for less. And that led me to want to get involved and see if I could help make our local government work better for people.
So you've been doing that. You're doing that 4 years. I'm assuming, and you decided to jump into the governor's race. Are you also running for mayor? How long is a mayor's term in San Jose?
4 years.
So you're done?
Actually, we realigned around the presidential cycle. I got reelected with 87% of the vote. Not bad. Didn't stuff any ballot boxes.
Look at little Putin over here. 87% of the vote? What? That's bananas in America. So you get elected. When was the election?
So that was 4 years ago. Then I ran 2 years in, and now I'm halfway through a 4-year term.
And you were like, this.
Well, John, I just didn't think enough people were running for governor.
How many people are running for governor?
It's unclear. At least a dozen.
And all on the Democratic side. So explain to the people, California is not like a typical, like there's a Republican primary, there's a Democratic primary. This is an open primary.
It's wide open. So anyone with any party affiliation can vote for any of the candidates. There are Republicans running, a ton of Democrats. Top two go head-to-head in November.
So there are like 2 or 3 Republicans running, and like 8 or 9 or 10 or 11, 20.
At least.
Democrats. It's a great plan, and it so smacks of the Democratic Party to split the vote into such fractious fiefdoms that the only 2 people standing are the 2 Republicans. So smart, so typical. Have the Democratic candidates discussed this with each other?
Right now, undecided is beating everybody, okay?
Wait, what?
Yeah,
undecided is beating everyone.
Still in first place, which is part of why I jumped in, because I think we need to be clear with Californians about how we're going to make their lives better. Spending in California is up 75%.
Why do you want to be governor
in the last
of California?
6 years.
It is a disaster waiting to happen.
It matters.
Do you know why they film all the earthquake movies with The Rock there? You've been in a drought for 80 years. Why don't you go run New Hampshire? What are you doing out there?
You know, what we're what we're doing in San Jose has been working. I'm really proud of our city. We've come together around focusing on our biggest problems and being much more pragmatic. We've led the state in bringing people indoors. We've reduced homelessness by about a third by building basic, dignified shelter, improving outreach, doing more prevention. We've hired police officers from our community, done a lot of community policing, and started to tackle quality of life crime. Crime has dropped. We're now the safest big city in the country.
Really?
Yes, sir.
That's not bad.
We have. We've reduced barriers to building housing. We've sped up permitting, dropped our fees, thousands of new homes.
And you'd like to transfer that. Now, does California hamstring you in any way in this list of accomplishments? Because the thing about California that surprised me, it's fourth largest economy, I think, in the world, yes? I mean, it's like running a country. But you're running a country by referendum. You know, they've got all those propositions. You can't raise the Bel Air Hotel pays the same property taxes as like a guy who's living in, I think, Eagle Rock. Like how do you run a state that is that fakakta? Queen's English, that word. In terms of how it hamstrings your ability to address those problems and use the funding properly to move in different directions.
Well, we're still less constrained than you might think. The state has incredible revenue. We spend $350 billion a year. We're able to because we have the world's leading industries, not just tech, Hollywood, agriculture. Californians are the most innovative and productive people on earth. We have a lot of resources.
I would push back on that a little.
I think it's time to... I think we've got to ask our government to do better before we ask people to give more. And we're seeing plenty of models, including in San Jose, but also other states. Mississippi's doing a better job of educating low-income students than we are in California. I think that's completely unacceptable. When government works, it helps working people really achieve their full potential, the American dream. And we have closed that off to too many people because the state is too expensive. We have to really own our challenges. Yes, we've got to fight against Donald Trump. California has to lead the fight against this authoritarian administration in Washington. But the best way to do that is to deliver better public schools, more affordable housing, more affordable energy, and really show that our values in California work and practice. That's what I've been working to do in San Jose.
Practice, yes.
I want to do that statewide.
You bring up a really interesting point, and I think this is something that has been divorced from... Democrats are generally the party that believes that government has a role to play in improving people's lives. Republicans are generally the party that says, I bet I can break that. So for Democrats, it's always been interesting that they've had trouble connecting the money that they're asking to raise through taxes to the value it's providing to taxpayers. So to the point of there's a lot of referendums up there now, a billionaire's tax, or getting people that pay $100,000 not to have to pay any income tax. But I think too often the politicians haven't connected that money to real value. I don't think people trust that that money will be spent responsibly or have any efficacy.
So predictably, being the capital of Silicon Valley, we created some dashboards to show people how we were spending their dollars. It works. Because
You're being replaced by AI?
Hopefully not too soon. It's more of a co-pilot.
I see.
Yeah. We've set goals around reducing homelessness, reducing crime, building more housing, cleaning up our city, growing the local economy, and showed people how we're spending their dollars.
And they're responding to that.
Well, more importantly, it's making us better. When we look at the data, when we say, okay, here's the program we're funding, here's the policy, this is what we thought would happen, and then it didn't happen, we adjust. We're actually learning, we're getting smarter, we're doing more with the dollars we have. And in the last 3 years, by reducing homelessness and crime and blight and getting housing under construction again, we've increased trust in government in San Jose by 40% by delivering results. This is the antidote.
How'd you measure that, AI? Because I've gotten some answers from AI that are a little... the word I think is fakakta.
Yeah, this is... Just a classic survey. We do a survey every year. We ask people what they care about.
Right.
We're focusing on those things. We're being transparent about how we're spending their money. We're holding ourselves accountable for spending it in ways that deliver.
Give me an example of, let's talk about homelessness. So how do these tools help, and a concrete example of sort of where the efficacy was shown not to be working and the adjustment made? Because I think that'll help people get their head around sort of what this governing philosophy is all about.
When I came into local office, we had a plan to end homelessness. The problem was there wasn't any math. I said, well, how are we actually going to end homelessness? And as I did the back of the envelope math, it was clear that we would need 20 years and $6 billion that we didn't have, and we had no plan to have.
In just San Jose?
In terms of what we were doing, because we were putting all of our money into the slowest, most expensive solution. That is a great solution for the lucky few who would get a brand new apartment that would cost $1 million to build and take 6 years or more to build. I just said, this isn't going to scale. We can't actually meet the need. We have thousands of people living on our streets, hundreds a year dying. We've got to get people indoors a lot faster, much more cost effectively. So we started buying old motels and converting them. We bought modular units or tiny homes and put them out on publicly owned land. We created safe sleeping and parking sites. We started to rapidly expand safe alternatives to the streets and really give people a dignified alternative. And
now, critics would say, to be fair, that kind of solution is temporary housing. It doesn't really end homelessness. They would say, and your critics, by the way, called us when they found out you were on the show. You're apparently on people's radar. And they said that in San Jose, they felt that it was a mirage, that you didn't really reduce homelessness. It seems like 6 of one, half dozen the other. They're saying that by temporarily housing people, that's just pushing it down the road. Is that a fair criticism?
I don't think it is. Number one, we've ended an immense amount of human suffering. Fewer people are living outside in tents. Fewer people are dying outside. We've moved thousands of people indoors, the vast majority of whom remain off the streets. And already in just the last 4 years, 28% of the people we've moved indoors have graduated to permanent housing. Some have gone on to get jobs, be able to pay their own rent, and really kind of re-enter society. It's not easy. We're talking about a population that needs a lot of help. We're starting from a very difficult situation where people have, in some cases, spent years chronically homeless, in many cases dealing with addiction and mental illness. But giving people a safe indoor place with a private room with a door that locks, access to a case manager, 3 meals a day, in a safe place is so much better than where we've been. And while I would love to build a brand new apartment for everyone who needs it, our rigid commitment to there only being one solution to this problem has, in practice, left thousands of people to live and die on our streets, not to mention the broader impacts on the rest of society. And to bring it back to where you started the show with
cursing
about Donald Trump, when we fail to move the needle on the basics, like sheltering people who are suffering and dying on our streets, we give a lot of ammunition to folks who would approach the problem very differently. We'd rather just lock everybody up who's homeless, which isn't a real solution. So we're trying to move forward pragmatic solutions, get people stabilized, give them dignity, connection to case management and services, give them a real chance to turn their lives around.
And that, for you, that's the approach you're taking on it. Let's examine it. Let's break it down. Let's not look at it as a blob. Let's look at the individual data and see what has efficacy and
take
where
housing.
We can go.
Our biggest policy failure, biggest barrier to economic mobility in California is the lack of housing. And at some point, we have to own that problem. That's one we can't blame Donald Trump for. We have to look in the mirror and recognize that when it takes 2 years to get environmental clearance or city fees add 20% to the cost of building a home, we're part of the problem. We need to make it much easier to build. We've got to build faster. I just put the most comprehensive housing plan of any candidate in this race on my website at mahanforcalifornia.com, and I break down how we reduce the cost of building.
Does it worry you that whenever they search that website, they end up on Maha? Does that bother you in any way?
You've got to get the N in there.
You can't spell Maha.
That N is really important.
You've jumped in. It's only been a few weeks, and you've clearly you've raised a ton of money so far. You raised a thing. A lot of it is Silicon Valley. For the country at large, that's I don't want to say demonized industry, but it's a frightening one for a lot of people. You know, speaking of homelessness, like, you know, Meta's about to lay off, I think, 15,000 people. You know, we're all very concerned that AI is going to make a lot more people be in that position where they're vulnerable to homelessness and all kinds of other types of issues. Why are they supporting you? Why should we trust their money? And why should we trust their industry?
Well, first of all, I think
You have 5 seconds.
I think I'm the only candidate in this race who has actually regulated tech. As mayor of a big city, we use a lot of technology, including AI, and we are very careful about what data we collect. We're completely transparent with people. You can go to our website and see what we collect and why. We don't use facial recognition. With some of our technology, we choose to delete the data after 30 days if it's not useful. So we're really clear about what we collect and why and how we protect people's privacy and data security. People are right to be concerned. These tools are very powerful. They can make our lives better. They can also create a surveillance state or all sorts of other terrible outcomes.
Job disruptions.
In terms of jobs, we haven't waited for AI to happen to us. I think it would be a mistake to try to regulate the industry to the point where it's just created somewhere else. We need to shape it. We need to regulate in a way that makes it work for people.
Are they in any way open to that kind of discussion? Because the general sense that I've gotten, and maybe this is just from a few of the louder voices, is they are very clear about any interference you know, in what they are doing in the lab underneath the volcano that they live in, is helping China. So, you know, the things that you're saying, are they amenable to that discussion in any way?
Some tech leaders get it and are, some aren't, but it doesn't matter. We have to be, because technology has to work for people. Technological change is incredibly hard on people. There are a lot of risks here. We have to manage this transition in a way that makes sure that people still can earn a livelihood, are safe, that their privacy is protected. It is really important that we get this right. We do want the innovation to happen here. We want to make sure that the jobs of the future are created here first, and that we have a say in how this technology is used. But there's a difference between being in the private sector and creating a tool and sitting in a public policy-making role and thinking about the second and third order effects and how we protect people.
Yeah, you're an interesting part of this new, you know, as we're looking to a new generation of Democratic leaders, there's people like, there's Mayor Lurie in San Francisco, there's people within the Democratic Party who are saying, like, we have to be more solution-oriented and we can still have progressive value through that type solution. Are you in touch with other people of that similar mindset? Are you guys always discussing and workshopping solutions? How does that operate?
Yeah, Mayor Lurie and I talk regularly. Mayors are quite pragmatic, typically. We get stopped at the... Yeah, we're held accountable. I mean, I take my kids to the grocery store on Sunday. It takes me 2 hours to get through the grocery store because everybody wants to talk about...
Oh, I just thought you were incredibly indecisive.
Yeah.
2 hours, I was just like, oh, Christ, I'd probably be behind him in line. Green grapes or purple, they're both so delicious. But yeah, people want to talk to you.
People know who their mayor is, and they want to know what you're doing to make their life better every single day. And I want to bring that level of accountability to Sacramento and show people that our California values in practice can lead to better public schools, more affordable housing, more affordable energy, safer streets. We've got to prove that.
Mouth to God's ears, man.
If we don't, we lose the trust of voters.
Yeah. When's the primary?
June 2nd.
Oh, it's coming up.
Real soon.
Who do you think anybody is dropping? It's not going to be you because you got a little nest egg now, so you can stay in there. But is anyone dropping out? Or is this just going to be like scream until the end?
Well, look, most voters are not even aware that an election's coming. This is an off-cycle race. People are just starting to tune in. And I think that when they see what we've done in San Jose to be the safest big city, to reduce homelessness
Have you guys had a big debate yet together?
We've had a few debates. I think we're going to have many more. And I'm excited to share with people how we get California back to basics.
Who's leaving first? Who's the worst? Who's? Let me ask you this. Weakest link. Who's going first?
I'm gonna let the voters decide that one. Sorry.
So smooth. Thank you very much for joining
Thanks
us.
for having
Really
me.
interesting. Man.